building at the same time. We got to spread out the different rooms. So they're going to be using that. I'm going to be doing this from my office. But obviously sudden change today in the middle of our morning walkthrough session when we were informed that we'd be playing on Friday instead of on Saturday. Obviously a different opponent. So we had to flip the script and we had to get right to work on preparing for a full practice tonight, which is what we're going to do in a little bit right here. So obviously a lot of excitement around the opportunity. At the same time, thoughts and prayers going out to those out in Seattle, because that's a difficult situation and certainly something that we hope to see them, work through and come out healthy on the other side. So that being said, questions, please.
First question goes to James Krupia from the Oregonian.
Mario, just the process of 24, 48 hours and also going forward, because tiebreakers are not, agreed upon protocols are not. You were a second place team by the way things ended. There's questions about just the integrity of this season, that the first place finishers didn't play the second place finishers, the second place finishers playing for a championship. Your assessment of just what the season has been to the league and the big picture here.
Well, I think the assessment of everyone involved is that you want to settle everything on the field. So, we were set to host the North Division Crown on Saturday on our field. And, our opponent had to cancel. So we never got that opportunity either. And then all of a sudden, we get sudden change today. We got a different type of opportunity. So I don't know if you could use the word integrity as it relates to all this stuff. I think everyone's trying to figure it out. All you would wish for is that everyone gets a chance to do it on the field. And it's difficult because you don't know how it's going to affect you from week to week. You don't know how it's affected different teams from the beginning of the year up until now. I mean, we played games this year in the low 50s in terms of scholarship players available. But that's what we're going to do because it provides the best shot at integrity. So I think everybody's working at it. I think they have found the best solution they could come up with. And we're going to be prepared to play.
Matt Preem, 247 Sports.
Mario, what goes with just the planning of the uncertainty? Like you go into Saturday hoping you're going to play and then you're not, and then you're thinking you're playing Colorado on Sunday, and now you're playing you're playing USC today. Like how much does this kind of flip the script, if you will, of just your day-to-day operation?
We're working off of two different scripts. We use one day in its entirety to break down Colorado, the other day to break down USC, and then we're thinking, okay, just in case, let's go through a walkthrough today, thinking that we're playing, at least we're supposed to play on Saturday. And if something happens, if there is some type of news at some point in time on Monday, then we could just completely flip it and go right to a Tuesday type of practice on a Monday. And that's what we're doing. So is it as deep and as thorough as you would like to on a normal week? It's getting there. It's getting close. You've got to invest every second that you have, and it's going to be, the all-nighters that you got to pull off, and you should be excited about that. The players, they went home, they got some eat, they got some rest, gave us time to really prepare that second practice, because that in itself, that's a monumental task, So I felt like some great flashbacks of drawing cards like a GA back in the day in '97. I thought that was awesome.
Tyson Alger, The Athletic.
Mario, have you or your agent been contacted by anyone at Auburn or a coaching firm regarding their open position? There's a lot of rumors flying, and just asking you.
Yeah, we seem to get a lot of rumors at this time of year, and this is what I can say. I can say that I haven't been contacted, okay? I don't know if my agent's being contacted, and I talk to him every single day. And I trust Phil Knight. I trust Rob Mullins. I trust our administration. And I trust people here at Oregon. And as you guys know, we had been working on something when the pandemic first hit, and things kind of stalled and things have picked back up. So I've always been transparent with every single one of you, and I will continue to do that. So hopefully in the next couple of days, there's more stuff to talk about as it relates to that. But that in itself right there, hopefully explain to you exactly where things are with me.
Eric Scopel, 247 Sports.
Mario, following up on that, what not specifically Auburn, but when there is this opportunity from a job perspective, what factors are you considering? How long do you need to kind of sit down and figure stuff out? And what does that process look for you personally?
I haven't gone through it quite yet, at least not since I've been over here. So I couldn't tell you. I know that we have an awesome thing going. We've got an unbelievable class going. And I think that when people speculate and start putting rumors out there, a lot of times people try to take that and get it to fit their narrative, which is try to affect recruiting class at Oregon, try to spin a story, okay? And like I said earlier, like I said right now, and like I'll say tomorrow, I've been honest with you. I'll continue being honest with you. Things are being worked out, and I have full trust in the administration here that things are going to be worked out and that I'll be coaching here. So that's where it's at.
Ryan Thorburn, Register Guard.
Mario, how would you kind of compare the craziness of this week to 3 years ago when you just got the job? There was the early signing day. You were at the Vegas Bowl. Now you've got multiple opponents, signing day, trying to get ready for that, and putting this class together all virtually.
Yeah, I don't think it's any comparison, even though this does have its challenges. That was tough there. Not only did you have to pull the class together, half the staff was in, the other half was out. Your operational staff you had to know who was doing what. Had an entire team in Las Vegas trying to prepare for a really good opponent. So, and remember, we had to actually visit prospects at night, so we had to catch flights Vegas to Southern California and get back about 2 or 3 in the morning, get ready for a morning practice. So that was pretty challenging. It was fun, tremendous learning experience. This one, you feel, with our class for the most part already intact, identified, and committed, we expect to have a tremendous signing day. So it's a little bit different, but with practice and preparation for practice eating up a lot of time, it pulls you away from those contacts and those phone conversations.
James.
Mario, just in terms of, again, you can't make up for the time lost, but how much time was lost given that you're thinking about Saturday and one opponent, then it's 1 day less on that end, and then you were thinking on one opponent. So how much time was lost in terms of prep for USC? Because, I mean, they could say the same thing. They said they were claiming that they were preparing for Washington. So,
yeah, I think both teams lose 2 days, but you make up most of it between what you have prepared for, because both teams were preparing for 2 teams, and what you've been able to walk through, introduce, and any type of carryover. You just got to make it up without make it physically taxing on the players. You can't do double practices. That's not going to work, right? But you got to make sure the mental part of it, the walkthroughs, everything else that goes with it, keeps everybody, on pace to be prepared for the game on Friday.
Kevin Wade, 247 Sports.
Hey, Coach, just wanted updates on guys like David Davis, Dante Manning, Brian Addison, Devin Williams, just the other Noah Sewell and Drew Mathis, the other unavailable guys from the Cal game.
Sure. Devin is good to go. Noah, I'll go one by one on these if I have them in the right order here. Noah Sewell is good to go. Cam McCormick, we're still evaluating. We thought he was ready. We're not quite there yet. Spencer Webb is good to go. Drew Mathis is good to go. Adrian Jackson's got a good chance to play this week. He was a little bit banged up. I don't even know if you mentioned him, but just giving you whatever I got. Dante Manning, very hopeful. He's had a really good week so far. David Davis will be unavailable. So I think that's everybody unless there's somebody I missed.
Matt.
USC's offense is one of the better offenses in the conference, as well as yourself. Like, what's just the challenges of you feel like of stopping this team and the growth in Keaton Slovis from year 1 to now year 2?
Yeah, well, I think what you see on tape, you see the most talented team you'll see in the conference, explosive at all positions, and a very big physical offensive line. Just a tremendous amount of poise and accuracy and command of the offense by their quarterback. Those in those late comebacks, and how just in the very difficult situations, as cool as can be, just performing and executing at a really high level to remain undefeated. So he's complemented by a great supporting cast. They call a great game. They coach it really well. A tremendous operation.
Eric.
Mario, what have you learned about your team the last 72 hours or so, from the day where Washington game gets canceled to you're supposed to play Colorado, to the quick turnaround, and now you have a chance to win a Pac-12 championship and repeat? What have you learned about your guys?
I think we've learned all year that the adaptability and the resiliency has to show in moments like this, and that you can't take anything for granted, and certainly that life is just not fair. And sometimes it works in your favor, and sometimes it doesn't. And there's absolutely zero sense or time to sit around and complain about it and try to talk yourself into being in a better situation or a better position. You know, you usually get what you earn every now and then. You might, things might work out in your favor, might come your way. And when they do, what a shame it would be if you're not prepared for that moment. So all in all the things that you always stress about the culture and doing things a certain way to be able to perform and play and execute at the highest level and do things right on and off the field and maintain protocol so you could field the team on a weekly basis to the best of your ability. Sometimes it's out of your control. All those things come into play, and they're excited and they're grateful. They recognize the opportunity and the situation. They respect it, and I think both those things are really important.
Warren Williamson, Oregon Duck Football News.
Mario, kind of a little bit of what Eric was talking about. Was there a boomerang effect? They go into Saturday knowing they're going to play for a North Division title. That game's canceled. Then they play Colorado. That's scheduled, and then Washington. Was there any down from them mentally, and then up again, knowing that they're going to play for the conference crown?
I don't think there was a down. I'm sure that there's an added, of course, juice. I guess you might say when you realize that you're playing now for the championship, second year in a row. But in terms of preparing for Colorado, we watched Colorado on film. They know they're a great football team. That's really a couple plays away from being undefeated. So they were preparing for a very physical matchup, a real athletic team, that's got some really good players and coached really well. So the level of preparation and the urgency was really high in preparation for Colorado. Today, in the middle of our walkthrough, we stopped them and brought everybody up so we could even just buy an extra 25 minutes for the coaches to go and start preparing, and get the guys a little time off, get something to eat and come back and get ready to go to work. So I hope that answers your question. It kind of went off there on a little bit of a tangent there, buddy.
James.
Mario, to the matchup with their defense, obviously there's quite a bit of familiarity there between yourself and Todd, and obviously with Dante being there. It's a different offense for you guys, but from a maintenance of not just the challenge in terms of talent first, but second of communication of signals in a short week, what goes into that? Because there's some people over there who know you guys.
Absolutely. You got to change things up and you got to be different because that's part of the game now, right? Espionage. Getting signals, not so much that everyone knows your plays, but, there are people always trying to tell if you're, running, throwing, whatever it may be. So you've got to be meticulously preparing for situations like that, in a conference where there's so much lateral movement and guys going to competitor opportunities. I think every team is always on edge about that kind of stuff, about sensitive material. So all that's taken into account as we prepare.
Time for two more. Ryan.
Mario, how would you kind of describe the bounce your program got from last year's game against USC and plus the Rose Bowl? And how would you characterize this opportunity that's been given to you guys to try to repeat in Los Angeles against the Trojans?
How would I characterize the bounce? These opportunities are hard to come by now, right? You spend, not that we had an entire offseason, right? We didn't. Not that we were able to have a full camp. We certainly did not. But at the end of the season, you always want to be playing for a championship, right? Or you want to be in that conversation. And, we find ourselves in that situation in a crazy manner, obviously. But I want to say again, last week was crazy in itself because we were set to play and put ourselves in a position to play for the North Division and had that stripped from us to only come back a week later and be in a position where that's the skip. So, I really feel like I should say that for the entire North Division, you wish that you could find a way to get everybody to play. I honestly don't think it's fair to anybody. It's not fair to us, but it's not fair to Washington, and it's not fair to Stanford. It's not fair to the rest of the guys. But it's here, and no one needs to apologize for that. Instead, grateful for the opportunity. Everybody's excited about this, whether it was a pandemic year or not. You get the opportunity to play for the Pac-12 championship. You're grateful, and you are eagerly anticipating the opportunity to prepare the entire week to make sure you can play at your very best.
Last question, Eric.
Mario, obviously, those different circumstances now, but let's consider this last week kind of like an extended bye week. From your experience when you're coming off of disappointments and losses, is it easier to come out with it directly and kind of take it head on, or does it sometimes is it beneficial to have a little more time to prepare for that next game?
Oh, there's no substitute for truthful conversations, for honesty, for confrontation in the right kind of way, respectful confrontation, confront the man, making sure that you always apply the finest and the best form of respect, which is truth and honesty, to make sure that guys and all of us, when I say guys, coaches, our entire organization, to have the opportunity to improve, right? And when you have that time, yeah, you have a couple of extra days, but I don't think you change your approach. There's no, right is right and good is good, whether you win or whether you lose. And when you lose a football game, the same deep dive that you take when you win has to be done, and the same type of assessment has to be done. You just got to correct it or it'll happen again. So all in all, our process and, the way we go about things are always going to be very, very direct, very blunt, very honest.